That's what I always say. He really does.
You can drive right up to India.
Okay, I think it's 4:30, we'll start the meeting with the Du Bois County Council. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everyone's here tonight, so we got a quorum, and then the minutes, approving the minutes of the June 23rd meeting, which was sent out. Is there any changes or additions?
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Ryan has made a motion, and I have a second.
A second.
Gina has seconded, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, I think first on the agenda tonight, we have Du Bois Strong, the 2026 budget.
Yep.
Yeah, can everybody see this okay? I didn't mess with it.
Move it if you need to.
Are you
I'm
good? Okay, perfect. Colton Pippinger, I'm the executive director of Du Bois Strong. Just wanted to kind of give an update with budget time and also what we've been up to, kind of where we've been, where we're going, how we're looking at things for economic development here. So just kind of want to start very general for economic development. It's been the same philosophy, but I think a little bit of a systems change with a transition from Ed to myself. And really, it revolves around jobs. Economic development used to be a smokestack, right, chasing, and it's changed a little bit. But jobs produce income, generates housing, provides the market for retail, generates taxes, fund our education, which provides workforce that attracts jobs, that produce income, right? We go around this circle all day, every day. So when we start looking at it, and I'm going to cheat because I wrote some notes down over here. We hit the mark on jobs, right? 27,982 jobs, 1,397 establishments in Du Bois County. Notably, 10,700 jobs are in manufacturing from 105 employers. So when we really look at that kind of subset there, that's a huge piece of it, right? That might be somebody in marketing or communications or whatever, but they're working in manufacturing. We have good income in Du Bois County, right? Nothing new, $71,918 historically have outpaced the state of Indiana in median household income. The state for that same year is about $70,000, so almost $2,000 higher, which is good. And then we start getting into things where Du Bois Strong can affect real positive change. Sorry, people in the crowd, if you can't see this, I realize. We know from the housing study, right, by 2035, Jasper needs 1,300 new units, Huntingburg needs 480, and Ferdinand needs 80 new units by 2035. This isn't just a Du Bois County problem, this is a national problem, right? And it's not so much build houses, build subdivisions, build houses, but what's that housing that's missing? How can we drive costs down? We'll get into that a little bit. Retail follows rooftops, so it's kind of just a natural progression there. There's really no secret why TJ Maxx, Bath & Body Works, right? Starbucks is all on the north side of Jasper because all the housing's over that way. And it's a commercial district, right? Taxes, which I won't get into. I'll be happy to talk to you about any tax other than property. We have good education partners, right? And then workforce, right? And workforce and housing are probably the two biggest things that I hear from our employers is we need people to fill jobs, but then these people need a place to live. We have to provide people an opportunity for them to want to live here, right? They all kind of go hand in hand here. But we start thinking through this kind of cyclical nature through 4 focus areas that hopefully look familiar. Business retention, expansion, talent attraction, quality of place, and infrastructure, right? So as we start going through that, right, we'll go through kind of this 4P matrix. Is it a program that Du Bois Strong needs to run? Is it a one and done, do it, find results, be done, move to the next? Is it a program? I flip-flopped on myself. Is it a program where it's long-term sustainable? Is it a project? Is it a policy where we need to go to a local or state or national level to rewrite it? Or is it a partnership where it's, hey, this isn't necessarily a Du Bois Strong thing, but we want to partner and push that forward. We'll touch on all of these. I still have a 5th in year prioritization. I should probably just add it and call it the 5P matrix, but right, at some point we have to kind of prioritize what's important there. So that kind of gets us into like kind of the framework of Du Bois Strong and how we start moving things through progression, through progresses. Getting more specifically into data sets, since I've been here in 2025, we've done 26 BRD visits. That's really a fancy way to say I go and talk to a C-suite executive or somebody in the company and say, what's working, what's not working, what's the biggest gap, how do we fill it, right? That number is always going to grow and continue in kind of those engagements, but these are very specific, very pointed conversations to have with individuals. And from that already, there's 2 expansion projects of local companies in Du Bois County looking to expand, which is really exciting. One's kind of more of a planning stage and one's currently looking to acquire property, so pretty far along. So helping navigate some of those different structures and different things. I tell them, kind of keep me on retainer as property taxes change, tax abatement, TIF, right? All these options change. We can kind of navigate that and you still run your business. The other side of it is site selection. So companies that aren't currently in Du Bois County, how do we go and attract those? There's two big ways. One is a company goes to the state of Indiana and says, hey, we want to move. Boom, we're immediately competing with 92 counties, let alone another state and their counties. So that I'm going to kind of exclude here. Outside of that, we've had 4 companies engage with us. 3 of them were, I'll call them like final assembly distribution companies. One of them was just not a good fit. It was a fuel refinery thing where it's noisy, smelly, right? And we didn't necessarily have the labor force for them either, but they just saw big open land. But nonetheless, we're getting noticed. There's people out there that are looking at Du Bois County more so than just where's a metropolitan MSA and where's all the people. We can start to market. And we're in the process of making those updates. And when I say marketing, right, all of us here can probably point exactly where that is, who the neighbors are, who owns the land. But as somebody that sits in Chicago, Cincinnati, working for 20 companies, do I want to put a plant by a baseball field? Do I want to put a plant, whatever it is, that looks like a decent road? But moving into things more like this, where who your neighbors are, you can see there's water, gas, wastewater, an REC substation, right? So we start to get more context clues. As you look at it more, you see you're 2 miles from an interstate or an industrial bypass road. These little things start to make a big difference as we start marketing to people. The other big thing we did is an industry analysis. This is going to be a lot of information just to show that it's backed by data. And there's some shocking things in here too for, I think, a lot of people. But moving kind of left to right here, is everybody familiar with NIST codes? It's 2 to 6 digits, and they kind of identify businesses across the U.S. Like a 2-digit NIST code might be manufacturing. A 3-digit, like we'll take 337 here across the top, is furniture and related product manufacturing. If hypothetically we add a 1 after that, so 3371, it might be wood furniture related. If we add another digit, it might be home furnishing wood, right? As they get more and more specific. We took employment clusters, so those 3-digit NIST codes as a cluster that employed over 400 people in Du Bois County, put them on this list. And then we start looking at how many establishments there are, their annual payroll, their number of employees, their 5% year change from 2017 to 2022, which is just the most up-to-date numbers there. 2020 happened, so we added in a 1-year change. And then just kind of a spark line so you can see that trend. The Bureau of Labor Statistics then has average weekly wages. So as you start to get in that yellow, it's right around the Du Bois County average for pay. Green is anything 10% or more, and then red, either we don't have the data for it just because there's some limitations, or it's below the county average. The last column there's an interesting one. LQ is location quotient. It's a location quotient of 1. It's essentially take a dart, throw it at the US, and your average, right? Everybody's about the same specialty. To no surprise, across the top there, 337, furniture and related product manufacturing, it's 95.5. So we're 95.5 times more specialized in Du Bois County in furniture and related product manufacturing across 22 companies in Du Bois County than virtually anywhere else in the US. For this, really the 4 things that matter here are number of employees, the 5-year percent change, and our location quotient. Obviously, we separated the industries there, but we'll put them into a matrix here. Anything on the top left is going to be a mature company. Mature in terms of they figured out how to get a product at a good price point with the least number of people. Right, they've been around, they've established themselves, they can do it relatively productive, right? Bottom left are going to be companies or industries that are lagging behind. Maybe there's job decline or they just don't pay high enough, right? These are companies that we might not engage with just because we want high paying jobs. Top right are our stars. That is our furniture and related product manufacturing. They have a high location quotient and they have some job growth. So in the next chart here, you'll not see them because it'll skew because they're so far away at 95.5. And then the bottom right is going to be emerging. So companies that have some job growth, and we need to see which way they're going. How can we take them from a location quotient of maybe 0.6, 0.7? Are they dropping? Are they moving forward? How can we help those companies grow and scale? So as we go here, I think it's really important. I'll walk over here. This middle line is here, so 0%. Anything to the right is job growth. Anything to the left is job decline over 5 years. And then 1 is right here. So anything above this, we're specialized in. Anything below, we're not necessarily specialized in. What this really shows us is we need to focus on these kind of clusters here. Right, we're pretty specialized in 311 and 423. So food manufacturing and merchant wholesalers of durable goods. But there's a little bit of job decline, right? Is that, right? There's a lot of factors that go into that. And then the bottom cluster down there, 336 being transportation equipment manufacturing, 238 being specialty trade contractors. You know, it's more so put some data behind it, not just we think we need this, right? For example, the mature company, let's see, 321 is wood product manufacturing up on the top left, right? They figured out how to deliver that product at the best price point with the most efficiencies, essentially. So it's just a different way to say we're using data. But the other big shocking thing is 321 wood product manufacturing saw almost 35% 5-year job decline, right? So when we start thinking of opportunities, right, they've probably figured out how to deliver that product at a right price point with the fewest amount of people. And good for them, right? But for the rest of the county, how do we start reskilling people? How do we get that workforce development to move them maybe into food manufacturing, right? The other big thing, talent attraction and retention, we're really focused on housing and childcare. Quality of Place has its kind of separate section in our strategic plan, but it was right in front of us, so this was an easy one for us, but now we have to go and do the project. From the housing study, Du Bois County specifically, the housing goals, share risk, increase variety, secure and conserve existing housing, and then leverage existing lots and add new lots. This is gonna freak everybody out, the word zoning's on here. We don't have countywide zoning. I'll be very transparent. I think we should, but that's my own personal preference. We won't get into it later. But zoning for housing opportunity is a little bit different in the sense of there's this movement called incremental development or incremental codes, IncDev codes. ROI, a regional group out of Bloomington that we're part of, had an incremental development alliance come and speak. It's small scale development. So you and I don't have to interpret pages and pages of code and requirements and all these things. We can go build and do it. So at the end of this project, what we hope to have is a binder of maybe 30 to 50 pre-approved housing plans. So I can say, hey, I want to build this. Council's approved it, city's approved it, right? Whoever it is, you show up, get a building permit and go. That way we don't have to go and interpret everything. It's less strain on public infrastructure because you don't have to build water, sewer, power all the way out there. And it shares risk because they don't have that architectural engineering risk up front. We've taken on some of that. What this really looks like is if we focus on this left picture here, that's your home in gold there. And that back lot is annoying to mow. You're tired of it. It's turned into a prairie or a meadow and you think, I could put a duplex back there and make, $1,000 a unit for rent, right? Maybe you just sell it off and be done with it, right? You can do whatever you want with your land for the most part, but we'll give you the blueprints and the risk and say, hey, we as Du Bois County have unified together and said, you can do this. That's that middle housing that's missing, essentially, that you see there, right? It's fertility rates and kids and everything that are declining. People are living by themselves a lot more. People don't necessarily want a $300,000 house anymore. They want a nice duplex apartment. They want a 1-story, 2-bed, 1-bath, right? It's that missing middle housing that we can start to do. On the right side there, that might be your whole plot of land. And we have to rethink how we might develop that. Maybe I own that parcel of land there at an acre. 2 acres, instead of building one house on there with a septic system or something, we can put 2 duplexes and 2 cottage houses, right? And we can start to leverage more and more essentially tax dollars because there's 4 units there, or 6 units there, and more people become a little more dense. It just allows for a little bit more.
I don't think you could get 4 septic fields on 1 acre.
Well, not there. You'd have to hook up to, sewer in some capacity. But, starting to think through, I mean, you look at Holland, Du Bois, Celestine, right? Maybe you own an acre there and you can hook up to a system. It's a possibility instead of one house with 1 taxpayer, right? You have 4 houses, essentially. The other big thing that we focus on is childcare. Community Foundation is really leading this for the county, but we're happy to partner along with them to start to. We interface with a lot of companies and large corporations where they might not, but it's a 9-person committee right now that we're proud to be on. School corporations, employers, right, nonprofits, everybody. But they've started the strategic goals of supporting the early childhood education workforce, ECE, strengthening community awareness, improve quality, and increase capacity. And I'll be brief on this, right? But I think we've all seen the $30,000 to Jasper, Little Raiders, and Southeast School Corporation that opened up some childcare seats. And then really excited at the top right there through Dublin's Smart Start Coordinator, through the ROI and Community Foundations. We'll have one person dedicated to Du Bois, Orange, Crawford, I think, counties, specifically for childcare. So they're dividing up a little bit. So 3 or 4 counties per Smart Start Coordinator to really push childcare forward there. So we get into this. You might recall, it's been a good number of years now, Du Bois Strong did a remote worker employment stipend, essentially, to incentivize people to move to Du Bois County. This was all before Colton, they call it BC. But I have the data and think it's important to share it with you all. Maybe. So 36 total movers came through this program since the summer of 2021. 18 of those did join the workforce in Du Bois County. So employers had the opportunity. There was some stipulations on income and a 2-year commitment and some other things. The 18 employers moved 18 people here, essentially, paid a little bit, Radius covered the other half to get a $5,000 stipend to move here. 18 other movers, part of that 36, came through the remote work program, where essentially I have a remote job, but I don't like where I live, so I moved to Du Bois County, get the stipend, keep my remote job, right? But what that really came was 100 total new residents when you start adding their spouses and their children. As we get into the economic impact of that, the total new annual economic impact is about $2.3 million when you start thinking about their discretionary spending, their property taxes, their City of Jasper food and beverage tax, their wheel tax, right? All of that really starts to add up. For state and local taxes, about $280,000. But it also generates 13.5 new jobs because those people need teachers, they need barbers, they need doctors, right? Whoever it is that needs to support those new residents. And their average income of those 36 movers when they accept their application to move here and get that stipend is $94,000. So hopefully they're hitting their annual increases and doing well in their jobs. So that number goes up. So when we start to think, we might have gave out a few $5,000 to 36 people, but that impact starts to compound a lot over years.
That new annual impact of $2 million, that's based off what, 36 people? Where do you come up with that number?
It's based off the 100 new residents. So again, it's all their discretionary spending, their property taxes, their wheel taxes, right? Because these people didn't live in Indiana before. So if they moved from Idaho, right, all of their taxes are new here. So now that they're in the tax base, right, you see it. But it's essentially just a calculation off of where they live and their tax rates at the time.
Average income is median household or per person that moved?
That is for the person that moved. So on average of those 36 movers, they make $94,000 a year. So again, that's split between, that might be one person makes $180,000 in New York, which is probably not great money in New York, right? Downtown New York, good money, but then they move here, keep that $180,000 job, right? And then that might be another person that took a job here for $70,000, right? So they'll start to balance themselves out, but at the end of the day, right, you start to have that discretionary income that just kind of moves the theme a little bit.
I will say though, I looked at the people that moved over, half of them were from this county before. I knew almost all of them. So
Yeah.
they have roots here. They just come back. A lot of them.
Yeah, and that's what we've seen, I think, and towards the end here, there's some data that proves that about, I think it's 75% of people move within the Midwest. They start and stay within the Midwest, right? That might be Wisconsin and Tennessee, but I think that's the target when we start to attract talent is, right? If you say Du Bois County, nobody really knows where it is when you leave and go on vacation, right? That's just the reality of it. A lot of people probably can't point to any on a map. But I think what starts to happen is you have to give people a reason to come back. They need opportunity, right? We hit all the metrics on safe streets, good schools, right? We hit all those metrics that are really important, but then what's the reason, right? You have to give that opportunity. And to some, $5,000 is enough to move back here for one reason or another.
And on the income thing, I thought there was a stipulation they could only make so much money before we gave them the money from the county.
They had to make at least $60,000 a year. So they had anything below, it was to incentivize employers and high-paying jobs essentially to move here. That number has since been moved down to 50,000, and Du Bois County is not, as the remote worker program, not participating. Employers still have free reign. If an employer wants to hire somebody and get that stipend, they pay $1,500. The radius covers the $3,500, and then they can get that full stipend. It's a 2-year commitment, at least $50,000. We'll go quick through these ones since we spent a lot of time on those other two. Quality of Place, you might remember back in 2019, a Quality of Life Attraction Program. It essentially gave us a big plan that we're going through and trying to cross off and update. This was in partnership with ROI back in 2019. They're looking to update these. And then last time, my understanding was some funding followed the plans. So hopefully we can go and implement some of these as well. But just something to kind of keep an eye on. The other big one's infrastructure. This is the most complicated one, but when we talk infrastructure, there's obviously the Mid-States Corridor, but this is also looking at water, sewer, power, cell phone data, right, all those things that matter. It's about connecting communities, right? Where's the missing sidewalk that, is, a mile of missing sidewalk that would really be beneficial to people, different things like that. And then transportation as a barrier of life, right? What is it? Can people move from city to city, town to town? Can they get to employment clusters, right? Can we really move people around? We will focus mid-states, right? It's no secret. I did want to highlight the project goals here. The major one for Du Bois Strong is support economic development in Southern Indiana. There's no secret to it, right? We can sit here and debate what's right and wrong. I think at the end of the day, we all want this thing to be beneficial wherever it ends. But we did pull a couple of data points. Median household income from Dale, Kokomo, and Martinsville. Those are 3 that I hear a lot. All trend upwards. Once road projects are starting to become complete, poverty rates go down for the most part in each of those communities, and then unemployment rates go down. So the hope, right, is as these things happen and develop, right, we get, housing happening in Martinsville. We get parks and things happening in Martinsville. I talked to the mayor and economic developer up there for a little bit. I'm like, even car dealerships are expanding, which was a shock to them, something I didn't think about. And then up in Kokomo with Chrysler, essentially, right, as these things develop and roads become more and more prevalent, the fact of it is, for the most part, is people will locate near those clusters because of ease of transportation. And then we start to see some of the ancillary benefits of poverty rates and household income and things like that. So that's Du Bois Strong kind of in an overview there. I did add in this slide here because President Gleason and I had a quick conversation about Du Bois Strong and Grow Du Bois County. Du Bois Strong really goes towards existing, right, administrative services happening on your behalf, 40 hours a week at least, 5 days a week, going out there trying to drive up business. As we get into Grow Du Bois County, it's a separate entity but runs in conjunction. It's really the call it project arm, I guess, of Du Bois Strong. So as you look at this, right, this happens so we can exist, Grow Du Bois County, so we can go do projects like the codes, so we can drive housing in the right direction. The other thing too with talent attraction, we're looking at exploring a Live Du Bois Strong kind of website attraction piece for marketing. resource pages, information, might have some pieces to start incentivizing people to move to Du Bois County, and then a dedicated page to Crane employees, people that might be working up there but need a place to live. I don't know if you've been up that way, there's not a lot. So, 45-minute drive isn't a lot for people nowadays. We see that a lot. That's usually 45 minutes an hour is usually the metric of what your labor force that gets used a lot. Anecdotally, there was I think it was Kimball Electronics had somebody move from Atlanta, and they were like, oh yeah, I'm used to a 45-minute drive in traffic, so I live in Pike County and just drive it. It's way better. So people are willing to drive for those jobs, and people want to live with amenities and good schools. And this is that slide there. The top kind of got cut off, but where people move from and where people move to. So 75% of people move within the Midwest, essentially there. And there's this company called DCI. They leverage talent wars. But one of the big things there, it's a good podcast too, just kind of hearing what other communities are doing. But the big thing here is, we have 1 and 2, right? We're practical. We have financial security with opportunities here. We need to keep growing that. Talent moves quickly, so the marketing has to move just as fast, and marketing works. So as we start to think through some websites and some ways to really engage with folks, with Whitney will tell you, it starts with a visit, right? How do we get people here and think about it? The second half of that is how to make them a resident, and giving them that information, that resource. So just 2 kind of quick things to touch on to say, right, Du Bois County is starting to leverage those dollars. Each of these will, the Inc. codes will leverage additional dollars from ROI and potentially the community foundation. This one with some of our local employers as well. So we're leveraging those dollars that you give to Du Bois County for a bigger impact as well. I know I went long, sorry Whitney, but that's kind of Du Bois Strong in a nutshell. So we're really excited to start running some projects and programs and get things moving.
Is that available to email to us?
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be very lovely.
Any other thing for Cool? What about your budget? Has that been turned into the auditor or?
Yes, right? I believe so, yeah.
We put
Same
in
as last year.
100,000, 60,
Yeah,
59,
yeah.
so we rounded up, 60,000 for Du Bois Strong, 40,000 for Road Du Bois County.
Yes. Yeah, which has historically been the same since 2005 for the most part. When the organization was started, I think it's fluctuated here and there, but it's kind of where it's been settled for a good number of years.
Road Du Bois County had a big flux going back,
Yeah.
but after that, it's been 40.
So we've historically stayed the same. That might be something that we cross a different year when property taxes don't change. But historically, that's where we've been at and been able to kind of operate. So we're excited to see what this organization can be and should be.
Any
you.
questions?
Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Colton, can you send me that PowerPoint?
Yeah. Now, as you see it, I tried to make it fun to watch, so there might be some weird things that overlap. So I might tinker with it and send you an update on a little bit later. But yeah.
Okay, Whitney, if you're ready.
I can send them a copy and then I can also put one in on the video.
Perfect.
Thank you.
It has cactus for you guys.
Christmas in July.
Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Oh, was there one on that? Here you go. Well, thank you for taking the time and meeting with me. Well, I know this is part of the budget hearing as well. But I wanted to go over first what's in the packet. So the agenda for what I have to go through is right on top. And I did want to include the Visit Du Bois County Looking Ahead document. So this document here, we do this every year for our board, and I thought it just might be something that you guys would like to peruse at your leisure. It just talks about some of our 2024 successes, things we worked on, our goals, our focus areas, and the different partnerships we have. Then on the back side, you will see the list of our board members as well as our staff. So you can have that information with you. Also in the packet, we do an annual visitor's guide. So that's right on top here. This year we did something new. We had a new initiative and we had a Spanish version as well. So we did 60,000 English versions and 5,000 Spanish versions. So that was a brand new initiative. Rosina Wicalasi, she was our translator and she was fabulous to work with. She did a really wonderful job for us. And then also, I want to give you a couple of these here. So being a motor coach destination is a concentrated goals for 2025. And with that, we did some new literature to make it more attractive for the motor coach market. I'll be talking about this more briefly here soon. I don't know why I can't speak today, but here soon I'll be talking about that. But I wanted to show you what those were. Then we will look at this document for the most part, this big document. So to begin with, I would like you to draw your attention here. This is provided to us by Rockport Analytics. We get it every year. So we just received the 2023 information in the beginning of this year. So there's always going to be a lag in the data. So our 2023 Du Bois County Report Card. Tourism sales per capita is at $2,832. Tourism spend per capita rating, number 15 out of 92 counties. And our 2023 spending by visitors in the millions is $123.4 million for tourism spend, which is number 25 out of 92 counties. We've been pretty consistently 25. I'd really like to move up. We've been 25 for quite a few years there. So you can kind of see, this is a 10-year overview to kind of show where we've been and where we're at for our tourism spend. So as mentioned, is $123.4 million for Du Bois County tourism spend, which is a 5.6% growth over the year previous, which is 22. And in 2 years, it is 22.9%. So we've had compared to our 2022 had a huge jump from 2024. And we've been consistently maintaining those growths throughout the years. So if you look at 10 years, we went from 65 million to 123.4 million in tourism spend, which is an 89.8% increase, which is absolutely tremendous. I do know a large part of that is the great investment in partnerships and collaborations that our community has. It is all of us working together for common goals, and I think it makes a huge difference when things like that occur. So there's just like little notes that Rockport Analytics gives us. One of those would be that capturing and retaining dollars piece. So of every dollar spent by visitors, 45% in economic impact is returned to the local area. So that's $55.5 million, which is really important that we get that return and that stays inside our county. And 1,313 jobs is supported by tourism. So very great industry for our county. I did also want to show you, just so you knew, the distribution of spend. You can look over that. You can kind of see what that percentage is in the different categories, with food and beverage being food and beverage and shopping being the two largest. It does help relieve the tax burden for county households. So if tourism didn't exist, each of the 17,588 households would have to pay additional $606 per year in taxes to maintain the current levels, which 12.1 million state and local tax revenue is generated, is what they give us. And they have a breakdown of that. Most of that is sales tax. It's like 56% of that is sales tax. But that's what Rockport Analytics gives us, those types of figures. So I did want to kind of show, we've been doing some internal conversations. We have had a lot of great successes as of recently. A lot of projects came to fruition that we've been working on for quite some time. And we wanted to kind of look at us as an organization and what our purpose is, because it's really important to know our purpose in moving forward with our strategic plan. So I would like to read the purpose that we have decided out as a board. The purpose of Visit Du Bois County tourism efforts and projects are to increase visitor spend, bringing an economic boost to our communities from outside dollars. That sentence there is probably the most important sentence of this. But through serving our visitors and elevating experiences, we are serving our community as well. Tourism generates jobs, generates sales for local businesses, and relieves the state and local tax burdens. Our efforts are focused on the best initiatives with the highest potential to increase the visitor economy, as well as considers the end goal of increasing the quality of life of our local residents, as they are a true reason for existing. And I just feel like that is just really important for us to know that in the end, we're here to make a better life for everyone. So I know you all know that as well, but I thought it was important to put that in words and verbalize that. So we are funded by Innkeeper's Tax. I'm sure you guys all know, 5%. In 2024, our overall revenue increased by 8.1%. So we had a really nice increase. That was following a 2.9% in 2023. And in 2022, as you can see in our economic impact, that was the biggest increase. We had an 18.3% increase in our Innkeeper's tax revenue. So we've been really on a huge upwards trend. This year, we are lagging a little bit. So we're hoping the end of this year will catch up, but we are about 5,000 less than last year's figures, which that was 8.1% growth, and we did have the eclipse, so I'm trying to okay, there's reasons behind this. We're still 30,000 over the previous 2022 year, 2023 year, but just so you are aware that change. Motor coach, I kind of mentioned motor coach and group travel is one of our 2025 concentrated goals. So we kind of highlight these top goals, 3 or 4 every year. We're going to put some concentrated effort, have some smart details to be a part of that, and then that exists as a part of our focus areas as well. So for motor coach group traffic, we're going to be attending a lot of different conferences. We listed some of those there, and then we're going to be looking at the top 20 companies we had conversations with, reached out with them 3 different times throughout the year. Visitors guide, we want to distribute all of our guides. We do not want to put any in the recycling. It's really a struggle to get all of our guides out every year, just because it's a constant, you have to put a lot of energy into getting those distributed, and we know that's important. We actually looked in Destination Analyst, did a study on visitors guides, and the return on investment averaged $48 for every $1 spent on their visitors guide, which I thought was incredible. I did not quite trust the numbers, so I dove in and looked at each of the results, and they did have a huge range. So it scaled from 19 to 1 to 96 to 1. So even looking at the lesser number, which is 19 to 1, that would be a $700,000 economic return by producing these visitors guides, and even a fraction makes sense. So we'll be continuing those visitors guides for sure to have those tangible pieces. Earned media, we know that press releases are free, and getting some earned media, it takes some energy and efforts on our part, but it also does not have any cost that a campaign has. So we really put in a lot of energy to make sure we are providing the media outlets details on different initiatives within our county so that they can write stories and spread our message. I'm going to go over these really quickly because I really want to get to the backside, and I know I'm talking a long time, and I apologize. So we continued trying to do the visitor experience enhancements with our new visitors guide. We're constantly making new updates to it, or I'm sorry, new visitor center, I meant to say, new visitor center. Wayfinding kiosks, we do an annual kiosk, make sure we get our literature out, we do a lot of different literature creation. We are marketing across all platforms. We have a very elaborate marketing budget. We do a lot of considerations on what's going to be the best return on our investments. And we also have some experts in place. So 26 Digital is a tourism expert, and they have been an amazing partner to make sure we're on track and realize what goals we should have. And then we do the work, but they give us some parameters, and it helps us know if we are on track for the industry. So they've been a really good partner for us. We know the importance of community partnerships. We're 3 staff members, And it takes a lot of partnerships and collaborations to make an impact. So we work really hard on being there, being present, being a part of those different organizations, and seeing where we fit in with those different conversations. I will go to the backside now just because I'd like to talk about our recent projects and successes. So this is the second year we partnered with Indiana Destination Development Corporation for our spring campaign. And Discover Southern Indiana was a partner of that as well. So Visit Du Bois County, we paid $7,500. Discover Southern Indiana pays $7,500. And IDDC, Indiana Destination Development Corporation, pays $15,000. So we did a $30,000 campaign with a fraction of the cost on ours with this collaboration, just a quarter of the cost. And the results were outstanding. So the digital component of that had 176 million total impressions, 9% increase in clicks to 2.36 million, 106% rise in click-through rate for the previous year. Since we did this 2 years, we can look at the previous year. And the cost per click dropped by 33% to only 79 cents. Now divide that by 4 and that's our cost. So really great cost for us. The website Discover Du Bois. So we had a web page on IDDC's website with this campaign. So it's visitindiana.com/Discover Du Bois, and it had 3.1 million sessions, 147% increase in the previous year, 224% increase in page views to 5.1 million, and an increase in engagement rate, incredible 67%. So we know that this was a very strong campaign. I do take a lot of pride in them saying that the reason they thought this was worked in such an increase and worked so well was because of the imagery that we provided in the different videos and the different content. So I take a lot of pride that we were able to provide some great digital components to make this a success. Du Bois County wayfinding. So I'm sure when you're driving around, you saw the 19 signs with 16 original pieces of artwork. Du Bois County Community Foundation came in as a supporter to make the artwork piece come to fruition because budgets are tight and we were getting really tight with our budget, and they were able to be that partner to make that a realization. So we were very excited with finally having those up after years and years of working towards that goal. And we received a lot of earned media. So we're really proud that we were listed as #1 in the Indiana Roundup with Inside Indiana Business. And I love seeing the #1 by the Jasper Du Bois County area. And they even had pictures inside it, which they don't always have pictures. So we really enjoyed that. And you can kind of see, I included some of the artwork, but each one's amazing. It was really neat to work with 16 different artists on those pieces. And then the Du Bois County Eclipse does not seem like it was in 2024, but it was. So it seems like so much longer ago. We were working so long on that goal. So we did the branding, logo, website, map, promotions. We did a lot of campaigns around it. We hired an independent coordinator. We were worried and stressed with the logistical components because the numbers out there were pretty outlandish, and they were a little far-stretched. We still received, though, 1,000 room nights with that eclipse, so it was a huge impact for our area that we kind of were able to capitalize on. Additional highlights. Visit Du Bois County, we won the 2024 Best in Indiana Art Activation. That was with our project to do the underpass mural transformation, as well as our mural on the side of our building, and the future application of the art loop, which we're still working towards. I was hoping to have that done at the beginning of the year, and then other priorities came up. So you will be seeing the art loop become activated as well. That is we were able to partner with that project as well. Like I said, partnerships are crucial in making things happen. I did want to share that Hampton Inn just received the #1 Hampton Inn in North America. They continue to just wow their guests and get great reviews. The Hanselman family also have some other highlights that just happened. In 2024, they were the Will Cook Tourism Award winner. And with that, that's the #1 tourism award you can receive in the state of Indiana. And they just released their Glockenspiel, which is an amazing addition to our area, and it's gonna bring a lot of attention to us as well. Sultan's Run got the #4 best public golf course in USA. That's with the Golf Pass. #1 in Indiana with the amenities as well. And then there's countless awards for our Du Bois County communities. Just last week, we shared 4 different awards, our designations that we received in Huntingburg and in Jasper. And then earlier this year, Fernan won some as well. So we're very blessed with the communities we have and that they are receiving that earned media. Just real quickly, I know I said that a while ago, but I'm gonna go faster. Spanish inclusion, we did that. We completed our video project, took a lot of time, and we released those as well. We've had significant website increases with 33% jump in users, jumped to 3.9 page views on average, 27% increase in engagement. IDDC actually liked our different campaigns so much, they put money behind, they actually saw some of our campaigns, and they contacted us and said, hey, if you give those files, we'll put more money behind them. We said, sure. So it's really great to have those additional monies just because they like the look of the things that we're doing. Facebook increases in engagement. We can continue on those. And last year we were able to do 26 press releases and 37 blog posts. We also were really able to release our Du Bois County Tourism Capital Improvement Fund, where we have placed help $100,000 towards nonprofit organizations with that. We continue doing additional 80 to 100 depending on our budget with grants. Our stage, we continue to allow usage of that at a grant type of level based on the nonprofit status. And co-op advertising, like I kind of already mentioned, we do a lot of that. We also our DC, we created DC Multisport within our organization. It has a separate board altogether because we are missing a sports commission. We did not have enough people for our sports commission. So in 2012, we created DC Multisport. And this last year, we were happy to say we reached the $330,000 charitable donation milestone. And that is in big part to our local industries and companies. They gave towards our different events. So the great sponsorships. It allowed us to have the events at a low cost to participants, as well as give back these charitable donations. So it's just incredible to work together with all those. I have some QR codes if you guys would like to sign up for our leisure, our partner newsletter, or both. You can use those QR codes. And I did want to mention, I know Colton already kind of mentioned that it all starts with a visit. So Destination International put this community vitality wheel, and I'd like to read that. If you build a place where people want to visit, then you have built a place where people want to live. And if you build a place where people want to live, then you have built a place where people want to work. And if you build a place where people want to work, then you have built a place where businesses and residents will invest. And if you build a place where businesses and residents will invest, then you have built a place where people want to visit. And that is the site. Any questions?
Very good.
That's a lot of information.
And I apologize, I feel like I talked too long, I'm so sorry.
Your energy is contagious, so.
Thank you.
But thank you for all that you have done for this and in your presentation and the awards, and congratulations. Same way with you, Colton. Yeah, your presentation was great too. And I think there's some good synergy here for Du Bois County. I do have one quick question. I know there's a difference between the digital and the paper marketing. You mentioned your guides that you don't want to end up in a landfill. Where's your target market for the printed media? Where do you distribute that?
So we work with tourism, it's called Tourist Information Services. And they are our distributor of, they go all the way throughout Indiana, mostly Indianapolis and South. And then they also do the borders. So towards, on that other side of Indiana, towards Ohio, Kentucky, and Illinois. So they have different, you buy a spot and they distribute our guides within that. And then they also go to hotels and gas stations and they have different racks. So we pay, that's major, like 35,000 of those go to Tourist Information Services to distribute. Then we have our routes that are local routes, as well as we receive lead generation. So we do some different campaigns that have lead generation costs. And we roughly between 9 and 12,000 guides will go out based on lead generations that we get. So people are requesting those guides and we mail them out.
Thank you.
Yep, and we do also distribute to area schools. We used to do it every door direct mail, and we were not confident of the people that actually opened up the envelope, and the cost was quite high with that. So we decided to drop off at area schools, and so we have been doing that as well.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay, I think next on our agenda, we have discussions of the commissary fund reviews just for the sheriff. Maybe let's start with that first. I think everybody was emailed that or mailed that. Does anyone have any particular item they want to go through on that? I mean, I went through it pretty in detail. And I did, I think two things stood up to me, the consistent monthly car washes, I think was one of them, and I think that's been pretty consistent from other times we received this, and I think that's really about all, except I think one other thing that I had a question on maybe is on March 31st, the retainer fee for the attorney was the only two things I had, and I checked back a few years, and that's been pretty consistent also. So does anyone have anything that we want to discuss or go into more detail on?
I think the only thing that we had talked about with the Everwashes was maybe having a license plate or a car number associated with them. I think we discussed that a little bit, knowing, who's all got them or.
I mean, we could do that, or I can send an email on her to the sheriff and ask him to maybe add that to the next quarterly report.
But I think that's gonna change, because I think that company sold.
So they did.
They canceled all memberships, and I don't know if they've started a new one, but
Okay.
so maybe a little different coming up.
Okay. Anyone else have any item they want to bring up, or
Not outside what you mentioned, no?
otherwise I think we'll just make I don't see anything else. We'll follow up on that, on the car wash, maybe a little better explanation of our phone number, or not phone number, plate numbers. And then the commissary for the community corrections. He gave us probably a little bit more than we needed as far as months, but I spoke with him and spent some time going over some of the questions I had. If anyone's got any questions, I'll be glad to, he gave me an explanation of a lot of it. But I mean, again, his has not changed a lot from last year when we spent quite a bit of time on the phone, with him, going through this, and I spent probably a good 30 minutes going through each item with him. But if anyone's got any question, I could probably answer it, or I can get with him to get an answer. I mean, he technically buys, like in January, I think it was, the deposits he gets from in the stocking of the commissary, and then I think he had a little problem with the washer and dryers. Some of the other questions I asked him about, Spectrum. I think they have a Spectrum TV, like what did they say? Maybe I had seven facility TVs, for the staff and I just didn't have a whole lot. He gave an award for the cleanest, incentive award for the cleanest pod, and that was just like some money for pizza. So, I mean, I don't see that being an issue. I think that's part of, he's got that coded as really than that could have been, I mean, that's what, I think he explained that to us last year, or last quarter, or last. So I couldn't find anything, that really stood out to me, and he assured me that, anything he spent on is in one of the one through 8 expenditures that meet the state statute. Questions or comments? Hearing none, I guess we'll kind of approve that.
Need a motion for that? or-
I don't think we do. I think we just have to review it. Okay, I guess we'll move on to additional appropriations,
Okay.
if we're ready.
I just have a few. Superior Court, Judge Quinn sent in 2. One, he needs more money in Pauper Council appeals, $25,000.
Is that, you want to do that separately?
Yes, they're different categories.
So this again, I guess for everyone, this is the money that someone can't afford
These are for the appeals.
for the appeals. So questions on that? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve that $25,000 for proper council appeals.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Brian made a motion, I have a second.
I'll second.
Meredith is seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries.
And the next one is for medical, psychiatric, and interpreter services, $5,000 in the same Superior Court.
Can you, do you have any explanation?
They really didn't give me a breakdown, but usually this is for if you have to hire somebody for a defendant, or if you have to pay for other interpretive services that we don't have.
Okay. Like an interpreter or something that if
I
it
didn't-
goes, you can't do
I didn't get,
They talked about it at a community corrections meeting a little bit. I think the woman that we just hired may not be certified to
She's
do,
not.
to do some of them, so they, Judge Murphy said they have to call this hotline, and it's per minute charge. It's not ridiculously expensive, but and then there's some languages, people that we definitely don't have on staff. So that's where that money's coming from. It wasn't a terrible amount, but he did
Will she
mention,
receive certification at some point?
she's working on it.
Yeah.
she's working on it.
That's right. So then that would reduce that
Yeah.
in the
But
future.
she's Spanish, so sometimes it's other languages.
Yeah,
Right.
so he said he's even had to have a Russian one, I think, once, he said.
Mhm.
Okay, hearing that, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve the $5,000 for the Superior Court medical, psychiatric, and interpreter.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Brian has made a motion, I have a second.
I'll second.
Meredith is seconded. Further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Anyone opposed?
And the final one I have is for community corrections under their CTP, which is Community Transition Program. They would like to buy some file cabinets, $5,435.
Questions on that?
They're wanting to buy file cabinets, you said? Just a question asked, it just seems like things like that, extra ones float around sometimes between departments, is that
It
not
seems
a
like as soon as
possibility?
we get rid of them, somebody needs some. They're having it all the time.
It's funny how that works.
Downstairs,
There's gotta be some group somewhere that probably has it for, like to give them away. I mean,
and
seriously.
if you go downstairs in the basement, there's desks, there's desk risers, it's becoming a graveyard down there.
I think what they want to do, if I'm maybe understand it right, I think they've got these special ones made by Kimball
Mm-hmm.
that match that, and it's wider, and it's not like the,
So the needs are different than
Yeah,
just any old,
yeah,
okay.
and I think it fits into their storage or their file room. Like, I think it's probably some of, because this kind of rings a bell on the cost, but I don't know that for a fact, but it's probably what it is. So, I mean, this is his money, I mean, this is their
It's-
money.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not general fund money,
No, it's CTP money.
so
understand.
further questions or Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to approve that $5,435 for final minutes. CTP money.
I'll make that motion approved.
Here, Ryan has made a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Meredith is second. Further discussion? Otherwise, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? The next thing I have here is, I wanted to discuss and I didn't realize that the auditor is way ahead of me here, but the budget books were here tonight on our desks, so.
Well, somebody pushed us pretty hard. Because he thinks he has to go on a vacation or something.
Right.
No, we got them done today. We did proof them. If you find anything in there, please let us know. We 3 sets of eyes looked at them, like you always, there's always something more. We've tried to provide you with all the information you needed, like the wage salary scales in there, the probation things in there, if people are paid out of 2 or more funds that's in there. It's just a lot of stuff, so we tried to proof all the page numbers. That's what I did this morning, proof the page numbers and the agenda and the table of contents. But if you find something, please let us know.
I guess what I wanted to do this year possibly is maybe, and the auditor said that she would be willing to do this, is maybe break down in a couple groups and go through this and that she could answer the questions that we would have. This is gonna all go live this year with this budget hearing. And I just thought if we had maybe a better understanding or could get some of the questions out of the way, it would help us expedite the process. So I don't know if I think I don't know how we want to handle it. But it would be nice to have 3 in a group, because I think, Ryan, you're leaving town possibly. But if we could maybe break down into 2 groups, and so it wouldn't tie the auditor's time, because it's probably going to take a couple hours possibly to go through it.
I mean, if you want to meet, you just gotta let us know, Ryan, before you leave, if you want to.
Okay.
Gives you 2 or 3 days to look at it.
Do you have like a couple dates that work for you all, that maybe we would just match ourselves up to what you want to offer, or?
Brooke and I are kind of keeping our calendars kind of open, besides the meetings that are already scheduled. And I know the fest going on down here, it's gonna be hard to get here, but we're here, we are open, so.
I mean, I would like that. Personally, I would like to have a day or so to look at it. And so we're probably going to get into August or first of next week. I mean, that's quite long. I mean, like, is there I guess a commissioner meeting on the 4th?
Yes, in the morning.
So, I don't know, why don't,
Yeah, I think they're on the agenda, I think my people's the one, so.
okay.
Right.
I mean, do you want to set up like I don't know what other people's schedule. Why don't you set 2 dates and then we can email you which one, what.
Well, I have nothing on the 6th, 7th, or 8th in my book right now.
I would be available on the 6th, for sure. So,
And
I think I can make any of those work out. I'm happy that we're waiting this week, so.
if the day doesn't work, I can always meet you in the evening.
If we did the 8th, could I zoom in on that? Call in on that? Would that be, or something like that?
I've not,
FaceTime on a phone?
I've not done that, but I guess we can. I just have that. We kind of have Teams over there more than Zoom.
Teams at work.
well, what about,
I would have to do it evening if it's the 6th, 7:30. So that would be
Like
my.
I said, if you wanted it to be this week, we could do Thursday or Friday as well, but you got downtown to deal with it.
well,
I think I'll take a look at this after we,
well, that's, I mean, I think
It's
it
a
would,
lot of information. in there.
oh yeah, oh, absolutely.
like I said, it would be good. I think if we could, then we could throw questions at the auditor and we could maybe get answers that we can make it work. So why don't you do that? Just, if anybody can make it, maybe just email her and just, and set it, or you can set a time when you want to do it, and if.
We're there 8 to 4, so you kind of show us.
It's kind of tough. It's kind of tough.
Instead of repeating yourself 6 times, though, I'd like to try to meet with multiple other people so that it's a little more efficient. So if you give a morning and evening time, I'll just respond to it and come to one of them.
That'd probably be best, I think.
Well, I can only have at least, I can't have 1 3 at a time,
Right.
so.
I'll contact you, I'll probably try to get it this week sometime, I'll look at it, make sure I get it, I'll just come in. It's the 6th, 7th, 8th, I don't wanna have to keep you guys, that's not really fair to you.
I'm good with 6th or the 7th, I'm flexible both days.
I can do the 6th or maybe the 7th. Can't on the 8th.
Because if we do, in the morning or the afternoon, whatever works.
I think like, if you would, maybe do what, Alex said, maybe just put it out there and then see who responds.
Okay.
And I don't know what your schedule is, but maybe you don't want to do a morning and an afternoon on the same day.
Maybe Wednesday this week, if you could go, I could go too.
Yeah.
We could hammer this out a little bit. Wednesday, was Wednesday this week?
For me, yeah, pretty much, so.
If you-
I would love to do that if that would work.
On Wednesday, I have a webinar for the opioid money from 11 to 12. Other than that,
I'm pretty open,
Same.
so we'll just get with you on Wednesday
Yeah.
after. And I guess one more could come. If that
If
works.
anybody's ready,
yeah, normally, I think it goes to lunch at noon, so
probably,
maybe 1 or 1:30.
Katie and Steve.
Fine for me.
Yeah, I'm not back to school till next week.
So then,
I'm gonna be fine either the 6th, 7th, or 8th, so probably we need to match up so that we're, have the right number of people for it, whatever. As long as I avoid this week, I'm okay.
okay. So the next thing I just wanted to just discuss here, at the commissioner meeting, they brought up a position of county administrator. And I didn't know if anyone had any comments on that. And if you do, I think what that would be, I think we had spoken to some counties that had an administrator at the county council meeting in June there. And I gathered some information and gave it to the commissioners. So it's just something I think if you have any comments on, I think somebody, the health director made a comment and sent that out. But I mean, if anyone else has got any comments, positive or negative about it, I think it would be good.
I'm in favor of it. I think it would save us money in the long run. I think it increased efficiency, coordination between department heads, elected officials, staff. I think there's multiple opportunities. I think that government's complex, I think at best, and I think if you have somebody to sort of kind of keep that continuity, maybe that's the word that I would use between different groups. I think that could be beneficial.
Would you keep the, was it the code enforcement officer as well? Isn't that?
What Sean was suggesting, maybe
Yeah.
his, to have that be a part of that role. I hadn't thought that necessarily, but
It's not really what I was thinking of. That's what a lot of counties don't do with that.
They just have the
I mean, you could help coordinate that, but I mean, the way we've got it structured, you wouldn't want this guy checking on weed control.
yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't want to do that. I think that's a waste of somebody's money. We've got this set up, trash court, I don't want him or her, or whoever it is, to go out and check bags and see names on the trash bag that got thrown on the road.
Yeah.
So I just don't think that's the proper thing. I think to coordinate that possibly with the commissioners and council. But I was thinking of the administrator would do both the council and the commission, one person to
Sure.
coordinate the whole thing. Some counties just have an administrator for the council. But I think that we're not that big to do that, or
no, I
I
wouldn't
don't
say
think that's
that.
necessary.
That's not what I would have in mind.
I just want to put it out there, so. And then, so if you have anything, if you want to put it in writing to, make sure you include the commissioners.
Okay.
And then the rural sewer district, I don't know, it's kind of, I think what we've kind of put a hold on it somewhat because we were looking at the SRF money from the state to see how we would rank and how that would, if we could afford it, to try to get the cost of ours is so, it seems pretty expensive project. And to try to get that down where the residents of the Hayesville, I'll call it Hayesville, the Jasper area, can afford this, it seems like it's gonna be a pretty big commitment dollar-wise. And I think once we get, our status, if we get any grant money or, then I think we have to look at this as a council. Do we wanna go in debt in 30 years? You know what I'm saying? It's just a big commitment. And for, I don't want to belittle the Hayesville area, but I mean, for to spend $24 million to get their 300 residents, I don't know if that's something we can afford to do but anyway, once we find that information, it's probably going to be presented to us. We may have to make a decision, but right now it's on hold, and we have a contract to complete the plans all the way to, the project, but it would not go out to bid. It would just stop there. So
I did call the Indiana Finance Authority last week, but I've not received any communication back yet. I'm going to find the status of where we are, so I'll stay on top of that.
if you would, I mean, it's a concern to me. The dollar amount is the concern to me. I mean, especially with the legislature changes. I mean, to carry that, just like we did with the jail, the millions we went in debt there for 20 years. You're going to have a source of income. We either got to take it out of our edit fund every year, which I don't.
And that's changing too.
Yeah, I know it's changing, and so property tax is changing. It's just a bad timing too. So I know it's been a lot of work put into it, but if we can't afford it, I'm worried about it. So as soon as we get that information, we'll try to share it, maybe even by email, since we don't meet. Well, we'll meet for the budget hearing, but that's really not the place to discuss it, really. So, and then the thing I had here is the AIC conference in French Lick on the 29th to October 2nd. The early bird discount cuts off on August 19th. So it just seems like if we're going to go, or somebody wants to go, it seems like we'll get our name in a pot there.
It's the 29th, is that right?
Starts on that Monday, but there's nothing going on that Monday. Normally the golf, there's a golf thing or something. Or that evening, I think they
Of
start.
October?
No, it's September
September
29th.
29th, yeah.
That's a Monday, I think.
September 29th,
I had the
October
council
2nd.
that day.
Yeah, we have it. Yeah, right. So I mean, we couldn't go there. But I mean, it starts at the county council thing starts that next morning. That the group.
Your affiliate meetings.
So I mean that's normally pretty good to attend.
It's just one day on the 30th, right?
But I mean, it goes that whole week.
It goes through the October 2nd, sorry.
They got those classes that you attend.
If you want me to sign you up, you have to let me know.
Well, I'm gonna go.
I do.
I'm gonna go to it.
I'd like to try to do it, I'm not 100% yet.
And then the other thing is if you're gonna go one day or if you're gonna do more than one day, because I have to sign you up.
Besides that it's close,
And you will have to go back and forth, you
Sure.
can't stay.
I know.
But I'd wanna go the whole week, or the whole conference.
Dean, are you full conference too?
Yes.
Anybody else know, sign full? You went the full conference? Or, because it lasts me like Tuesday only, Wednesday only, or full, I think.
Yeah,
Tuesday morning is normally the county council morning.
Tuesday.
Yeah, I would do Tuesday too.
At 8 o'clock, at 8, I think it starts at 8 o'clock.
So, Meredith, you said the full thing,
No, I think I'm gonna do the Tuesday.
just Tuesday? And then Doug, you can't, or you will,
I probably won't, but I'll let you know for sure.
okay. Well, I got a few days to do it. I got to the 19th.
Is DuBois County helping host that again?
Well, they contacted me and asked me if I'd be interested, and I said yes, and I haven't heard anything since. So if I do, I will let you know.
Okay, I mean, a budget review again is August 13th at 8 o'clock,
You have the agendas in your packet.
and it's live. So I didn't look at the thing, but you've got it broken out maybe in 4 sessions and we take a break.
I did not post any breaks in there yet, but since it is such a long day, we're gonna have to break it up so the video.
And then if you,
I mean, I can do like, when we start to lunch and then we're gonna have a break, and then the afternoon I'll have to probably take a break somewhere around 4 or something to cut it off, and then start again.
and would you mind getting a reservation table over at the pub and grab thing
I can.
for lunch? And you will eat there, otherwise you can go on your own. I mean, that's really all I had. Nobody else wanna have anything for the good of the order here?
I had a question, and it's really early in the process. I got a few calls from the 4-H council people after that commissioners meeting, and if they would go ahead with a disunion between the 4-H and the parks, do we have any idea what that's gonna look like from the budget side?
Well, the park is their own entity, right? Tax entity. So we fund the 4-H. I think one of the commissioners made a comment that they probably don't really want to get into funding that too much. You know, it should stand alone. I don't know what the reason is. That's my opinion, but I don't know what the reason why they don't want to split.
But like the position, so Carson, he would be involved with 4-H and the parks, right?
Right now, right now they're county employees funded by the park, and the 4-H pays us back. They settle
Yes.
back with us
So
for
that's
their
kind of like
salaries.
what the questions were, and I didn't know if anybody, if that would happen, how we would pay him, or how that would change.
That's yet to be determined, I
And then
think.
the house, you know, and stuff,
The 4-H council owns the house.
and that's, but he's gonna continue to live there.
I can't answer that, nothing that's been determined
But I
yet.
think Commissioner Stefano was going to look into that and try to get the details and bring them back on the 4th, I thought.
So maybe they'll know more after that next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't know really anything, and I thought I'd ask you, because I didn't.
I don't know much, I don't know anything more than what the commissioners said. It seems it's gonna be a lot involved to split,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
and it's duplication.
I mean, we are in the middle of a 99-year lease, so.
Right. Any other questions or comments? Sandy, do you have anything?
No.
Lloyd Stewart sent out an email about the 911 budget. So surcharges been going up, but costs have been going up. Last year, we were lucky and not lucky in a way because of staffing issues. Didn't cost as much as far as that goes with not being fully staffed and having to fill in the overtime, keep having a person there. But it's not so as far as going forward. So I don't know if anybody has any questions from this email that he sent out about the shortfalls of that. Any ideas on where we're gonna?
I met with him, I spent the other Friday morning, I guess, with him. I understand what you're saying, I mean, it's the insurance that he's wanting us to pay out of the general fund, health insurance. But, I think in my opinion, his hands are pretty tied.
Yeah, I mean, he spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to fix it and talking with Sandy and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a, we can discuss, on the 13th, but, I mean, what he's explained to me, I don't see an answer to it. I mean, we almost just gonna have to try to bite the bullet and, and fund it for him. Be my opinion.
I think he sent out that so you could kind of know more before that date, because they get 30 minutes, that's not a whole lot of time.
But he's welcome, I think he put it in his email, he's open to discussion.
I just wanted to bring it up, see if anybody had any questions.
I do want to tell you that health insurance is costing us quite a bit, and I think I'm gonna have to do an additional appropriation this fall, put more money in the health insurance line.
I think the commissioner said what it costs, $11.36 an hour.
Yeah, it's about $25,000 a year per employee on the plan.
It's an expensive thing.
Did you see that the higher courts upheld the rejection of the Perry County elected officials receiving benefits in the
Yes,
state?
I did see that.
The councilman protested that he should have insurance and benefits, which they did not give him, and they took it to the
And they
Indiana.
said they could have it.
No, he can't. Not enough part-time.
Oh, that's a whole nother gamut. An elected official normally is considered full-time because you're an elected official 24/7.
Perry County.
Yeah,
believe it.
so I think it's going to be left more discretionary to the counties as of right now, because the language in the actual code that defines part-time and full-time isn't maybe more fully developed.
So
I
then-
don't know.
You guys could all be taken off,
And the commissioners, I think,
and the commissioner,
And the commissioners, correct?
and the coroner, and the surveyor.
What's the
He's not elected.
That's what I understood it too, that right now it's up to the discretion of the counties.
I had not seen that, but
And I came out this week and, I mean, in reality, if it's a difference between giving the employees a raise or we keep these benefits, maybe we should decide on that.
well, I know Monday the commissioners are gonna be discussing health insurance again, and possible changes to it.
Okay, anything else? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion to close the meeting.
I'll make a motion to close the meeting.
Okay, we got that. There it is.
Second.
Who seconded?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Close the meeting.